Hello everyone, welcome back to Chandan Logic's English class. My name is Sham. My dear friends, already in our last session, we have discussed banking related spotting errors, and we have a very important exercise today also based on the same topic, antonyms. My dear friends, spotting errors, synonyms, antonyms, idioms, word swap, jumble sentences, close test, passages, column based matching, missing passages. Every section in banking exam has its own importance. So today's session is also going to play a very crucial role in banking exams, especially antonyms. No doubt yesterday's session and today's session, it's going to test our vocabulary proficiency and vocabulary knowledge. Now the question is, what if the vocabulary is tough? What if I do not know the vocabulary? Don't worry, every problem has a solution. You don't have to know all the 10 words or 8 words given in the question in the options. At least if you know 50% of that. If you know at least 30% of that, you can still handle the question confidently, my dear friends. I hope I am very clear. So the real game is, of course, to learn the vocabulary. Try to learn as many vocabulary as possible. That's the deciding factor. But in some cases, if you don't know the vocabulary, don't worry. You can read the sentence, understand the context, understand the meaning of the sentence. You can handle the question to some extent effectively. Okay. So without further delay, my dear friends, let's get started. I once again welcome you all to the English class, and we are going to have a very important session. So Chandan Logics offers you a very special course, a good offer, 499 rupees. You can buy any one course at just 499 rupees among these courses. And this offer ends on August 7th. So please make sure you buy this course. Zero to Hero 2.0. It is a very, very special course, my dear friends, and this course is offering you wonderful content. 6.0 championship batch is also waiting for you, my dear friends. Okay, so question number. Already in our earlier session, we got to discuss some important questions. And this is a part 2 of antonyms that you are watching, my dear friends. So guys, can you find the answer? Can you find the antonym? There are 2 words which are highlighted in the given question. One is unequivocal and the other word is laconic. Unequivocal is one word, laconic is one word. You need to find the antonyms, my dear friends. You need to find the antonyms, my dear friends. Yes. You need to find the antonym, my dear friends. You can follow the regular process of reading the complete sentence, or you can also try to directly go by the meaning of the vocabulary, my dear friends. You can also go by the meaning of the vocabulary, my dear friends. Yes. I think everybody knows this word unequivocal. Unequivocal means, my dear friends, very, very clear. Unequivocal means very, very clear. Very, very lucid, very, very vivid, very, very explicit, very, very categorical. The meaning is very, very unambiguous. Okay. So very, very clear. I will also give you an extra vocabulary for your vocabulary knowledge. Articulate. You can take this word into consideration, that is articulate. So unequivocal, these are the synonyms. Now you need to find the antonym to this word, that is ambiguous. So my dear friends, naturally ambiguous is the opposite. Ambiguous is the opposite. Ambiguous means unclear. Okay. Ambiguous is unclear. So this is the answer, my dear friends. This is the answer. Okay. This is the answer. I will also would like to tell you some synonyms to the word laconic. Laconic means, my dear friends, very brief. Laconic means very fleeting. Laconic means very short. Laconic means very transient. Laconic means very transient. Which is very concise. Which is very succinct. which is very terse. And the opposite is verbose. Do you know what is the meaning of the word verbose, my dear friends? Verbose is very elaborate. Verbose is talking more. Verbose is a very elaborated way. Verbose. Okay. You also can use the word precise. Take a screenshot or make some good running notes. Take a screenshot or make some good running notes, my dear friends. Yes. Clear? Let's go to the next question, my dear friends. I hope everybody is following the session and making some good running notes. Okay. I'm not trying to explain this sentence because if you can get the answer, no need to really waste your time on understanding the sentence. What do you think, guys? So can you get the answer for the question number 17? Yes. Yes, my dear friends. What do you think is the answer? What do you think is the answer? Can you be very fast? Can you make your answers very fast? So what is the meaning of the word prevalent, my dear friends? So prevalent means present everywhere. We say omnipresent, We say omnipresent. Prevalent means omnipresent. The meaning comes like widespread. You also can use the word plethora. You also can use the word copious. You also can use the word copious. You can use the word myriad. The meaning is plenty. Plethora. Plenty. Plethora. You can use the word plenty. Plethora. You can use the word plenty. Plethora. Myriad. So now you need to, I think abundant is also same here. Frequent is also same. Common is also same. Now the only odd man out is scarce. Okay. Scarce is very less. Correct. Scarce is something very less. Correct. Yes. Scarce is very less. Okay. Right. So I will also give you some synonyms to the word scarce, my dear friends. Scarce is very less. Scarce is very little. Scarce is very scanty. Scarce is very sparse. Scarce is very less. Scarce is very little. Scarce is very scanty. Scarce is very sparse. You also can use the word scarce is, I can call it, scarcity, sparse. You also can use the word devoid. Something which is very less available or not there, not present. Unavailability, unavailability. Okay, unavailability. So these are some synonyms to the word scarce, my dear friends. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear, dear? Okay. Right. I think based on that, you can also try the other options as well. Basically, I think in the right side options, there are different options present there. I would also like to explain those options for your sake. No problem. I think everybody knows dominant. Dominant means very strongly expressed. Latent is hidden, dear. The meaning of the word latent. So latent is hidden. Latent is something which is hidden. Okay. Something which is hidden. Latent is hidden. Okay. Hidden. And recessive is very, weak. Recessive is very weak. And I think these are very close. Codominant, expressive, dominant, they're all same. Okay, right. Guys, can you try the 18th question? I want a very quick answer from you, dear. I want a very quick answer from you. You have to be very smart. Use complete shortcuts. Use complete shortcuts. Use complete shortcuts. Use complete shortcuts. Yes. So let me give you the vocabulary of this precipitous. So what is the meaning of the word precipitous? Precipitous means very sharp, very strong. I can say very rigid. Okay. I also can say very acute. That is why we say abrupt. Okay. That is why we say steep. And then we say vertical. Okay. Gradual is the opposite word. Gradual is the opposite word. Okay. If you look at this, do you know impermeable membranes? I think in science, maybe in physics or chemistry or biology, you have impermeable membrane. What is the meaning of impermeable membrane? Impermeable membrane is a membrane that doesn't allow anything to pass through this. Impermeable. It does not allow permission. It does not give permission anything to pass through it. Okay. Which is very close to solid, which is very close to dense and very close to compact. Okay. Right. And porous. Do you know what is the meaning of porous? Porous means something having holes. Porous means something that has got holes. And naturally when there are holes, anything can pass through that. Option C is the odd man out, dear. Option C is the odd man out. Option C is the odd man out, dear. Odd man out. Am I clear, dear? Can you try the next one? Question number 19. I want very confident and very quick answer from you, because today is the last session on antonyms, guys. Today is the last session on antonyms, guys. So I want quick answer from you. Waiting for your answer. I think this is the easiest question, because anybody can easily guess by looking at the prefix. What do you think, Vishnu? Very easy question. Poly, mono. Can you find any other better shortcut than this? Poly, opposite, mono. What are you worried about? How simple, see? Poly, opposite, mono. How simple this is, see? How easy this is. Let me talk about cacophony. So my dear friends, what is the meaning of cacophony? Cacophony means disturbing noise. Cacophony means disturbing noise, or I can call it loud noise, which is very close to resonant, which is very close to discordant. Okay. And the opposite is melodious. The opposite is melodious. The opposite is melodious. Of course, tuneful is also same. These both are same actually. That is why this cannot come here. Okay, this cannot come here. What is the opposite of harmonic? Like something related to harmony. Okay, like a kind of unity. Peace and harmony we say. Peace and harmony we say. Correct. What is the meaning of choral, my dear friends? Something written for a choir, related to choir. You know choir, right? Something related to choir is called choral. Choral, okay. And what is monophonic, consisting of single melody line. So mono means only one line. Poly means many lines. So generally phonic is sound. Generally phonic is sound. Phonic is sound. Generally phonic is sound. Okay. And if you say layered, layered means something that has got too many layers in that. So layered means something that has got too many layers in that. Something that has got too many layers in that. Okay. Right. Let's get to the question number 20. Can you answer this question in 20 seconds? Not more than that. Who can answer this in 20 seconds? Anybody? I'm going to give you only 20 seconds, dear. Only 20 seconds. Can you answer this in 20 seconds? Yes, guys. Yes. If you see here, dormant. So, what is the meaning of the word dormant? Dormant means very dull. Dormant means very dull, very low. I can call it dormant means very inactive. So, dormant means very dull, very low. very inactive, which is very close to passive, and which is very close to latent, which is very close to passive, which is very close to latent. Okay. Whereas the exact opposite is active. See, passive, active. How simple. See, okay. You are right. When we talk about this word turbulent here, and now I should also tell you quiescent. So quiescent is also very close to this. Quiescent means very quiet, very dull. You know, very quiet, very dull, very silent. When we say quiescent, quiescent means very dull, very silent. Very dull, very silent. Okay. Yes. Now you talk about turbulent. So turbulent is all like disorder. Turbulent is something very close to chaos, you know. When we say turbulence, so turbulence is all disorder. Turbulence is all chaos, which is very close to violent, and also naturally, you know, dynamic. And chaos I have written here. See, chaotic. So the opposite is tranquil, my dear friends. The opposite is tranquil. I think, do you guys remember the word tranquil that I have explained to you before? Tranquil is very peaceful, very serene, very calm, you know, very peaceful, very relaxed. There is a word called nonchalant. There is a word called nonchalant. Very peaceful, very relaxed, very calm, you know, very peaceful, very relaxed, very calm. Okay. Right. So what happens is, the more examples you practice, you will get the confidence here. So what happens is, like, if you remember in the beginning of the week, we have started this week, I remember Monday and Tuesday we talked about synonyms. And again on Thursday and Friday we are talking about antonyms. Wednesday we had different discussion. So 4 days in this week we have discussed vocabulary, synonyms and antonyms in banking level, which is very important, correct? But today is the last day on this topic, guys. Okay, from tomorrow we are going to have again different topics. Okay guys, can you try the answer? Can you try the next question? Can you try the next question? I'm waiting for your answer. I'm waiting for your answer. I'm waiting for your answer. Try to identify the shortest possible, dear. Shortest possible, see? Shortest possible. Try to identify the shortest possible. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes. I think in this question you can find the shortest possible. Okay. Yes. I'm sorry, dear. I didn't notice that. Yeah, Vishnu, sorry. Don't get angry. Show some sympathy on an old man like me. Yes, maximum 5 to 10 seconds. You will have to find some shortcut here. Maximum 5 to 10 seconds. You will have to find some shortcut here. Yes. If you ask me, this is nice. Gregarious. So guys, what is the meaning of the vocabulary gregarious? So gregarious means very, very friendly. Gregarious means, you know, very, very, very outgoing, outspoken, outgoing. So gregarious means who is very, very affable with everybody, who is very friendly with everybody, who is very congenial with everybody. So gregarious is almost like very cordial, very friendly, very cordial, very friendly. Oh, sorry. Very cordial, very friendly. Okay. Very cordial, very friendly. Okay. So which is very close to this? Social. Which is very close to this? Cooperative. And then collective. What is the odd man out here? The odd man out is solitary. You know the meaning of solitary? Solitary means all alone. Solitary means all alone. When we say solitary, it means all alone. See, solitary means all alone. Solitary means all alone. Very, very alone. Okay? Very, very alone. Right. Let me also tell you the other options. My dear friends, you see, forest bound means full of trees. Forest bound means full of trees, plantation, plants and trees and all that. We say flora and fauna, plants and animals. We say flora, which is very close to canopy. Canopy means full of trees. Canopy means full of trees. Arboreal animals. Arboreal animals are the animals like monkeys. They live on the trees. They live on the trees. They live on the trees. Arboreal animals. They live on the trees. Arboreal animals. They live on the trees. Arboreal animals. They live on the trees. Okay, right. Except terrestrial. Terrestrial animals walk on the land. Arboreal animals walk on the trees. Terrestrial animals walk on the land. Okay. Elevated is entirely a different word. You have no relation with that actually. You have no relation with that actually. Okay, right. Chalo, let's get to the next question. Let's get to the next question. Question number 22. Speed up the process, dear. Speed up the process. You have to speed up the process. Because today is the last day on antonyms. Today is the last day on antonyms, dear. You really need to speed up the process. Yes. See, this is a very simple vocabulary. Continuous. Continuous means incessant. Continuous means incessant. Without any break. No end. That is why we say perennial. So, perennial rivers, endless rivers. River Ganga is a perennial river. Endless river. Endless river. Like we say persisting. Persisting means something which is continuing. We say persisting. Persisting means continuing. Persisting means continuing. Which is equal to constant. Which is equal to permanent. Okay. Right. And the opposite is intermittent. The opposite is intermittent. And this is the answer. So intermittent means something which is very temporary. Okay. Intermittent means something which is very temporary. Like we say intermittent, no? Intermittent means very temporary. Very, very temporary. Temporary. I think there is one vocabulary called transient. You can use this vocabulary called transient. Very, very temporary. Very, very transient. Very, very intermittent. Very, very temporary. We also use the word ephemeral. Ephemeral. Ephemeral is also very, very temporary. There is a beautiful word called fleeting. Fleeting is also same. Fleeting is also same. Then there is something called brief. Okay. Right. Right. Now, just to learn some more extra vocabulary here, we have, yes, robust. Only robust is strong. Rest of the words are not strong. Okay. Only robust is the strongest word here. Only robust means strong. Rest of the words are not strong. Okay. So robust is very strong. Robust is very strong. Invincible. There is a beautiful word called invincible. Then I also can say vigorous. Robust is very strong. Vigorous. Robust is very strong. Vigorous. Invincible. Robust is very strong. Vigorous. Invincible. Invincible. Indefatigable. Indefatigable, like that. We also use the word brawny. B-R-A-W-N-Y. Brawny. So brawny means muscular. Brawny means muscular. Okay. And the opposite is this. Fragile, weak, feeble, weak, delicate, weak. Fragile, feeble, delicate. They are all weak words. See? Fragile, feeble, delicate. They are all weak words. Okay? They are all weak words. Okay? Right. Chal. I think if that is okay for you, what I would like to do is, I would like to not take much time, but very less time, like delicate, weak, like weak, delicate, feeble. We also use the word fragile. Fragile is easily broken. Fragile is easily broken. Very, very feeble, very, very delicate. Okay. You also can use the word brittle. Brittle is also very delicate, soft, very delicate. We also say lithe, very delicate. Lithe, very delicate. And my dear friends, you also use the word emaciated. So emaciated is a person like who looks very weak because he has not eaten anything too long. He has not eaten anything too long. He say emaciated, very weak. We say emaciated, very weak. Okay, emaciated, very weak. Okay, question number 23, guys. Maybe 20 seconds. Answer, please. 20 seconds, answer, please. Imashi, 23rd question. Yes. Yes, my dear friends. So what is the meaning of the word fallibilistic? So my dear friends, fallibilistic means a person who it's about a person who makes mistakes, like error, like we say faulty. There may be a chance that he makes some mistakes, erroneous, we say a beautiful vocabulary called erroneous. Like we say faulty, we say erroneous, we say faulty, we say erroneous, we say faulty, we say erroneous, we say faulty, we say erroneous. Okay, which is like only assumptions. See, like tentative. Tentative means unsure, maybe or may not be. Tentative calendar. This is the tentative calendar of civil services or groups. So tentative, maybe or may not be. Empirical data. So the meaning of the word empirical data means it's about the data which is just based on observation. There is no evidence for this. Even probability, probability means it may happen or it may not happen. That's called probability. So probability means it may happen or it may not happen. That's called probability. Okay, that's called probability. I think other options are nice. The infallible, infallible means never makes a mistake. He cannot make mistake. He is not capable of making mistakes. We say infallible. Infallible means he is not capable of making mistakes. Infallible means he is not capable of making mistakes. Dogma. So my dear friends, what is the meaning of dogma? I have already told you before. So dogmatic people are like fixed beliefs. They don't want to change. So dogmatic people means some belief system which is fixed and they don't want to change. So, and they don't want to change. That's called fixed beliefs, which is very close to orthodox, which is very close to authoritarian and even rigid. Rigid means they don't change. Inflexible, they can't change. We say inflexible, okay. And the opposite is open-minded people, okay. The opposite is what? Open-minded people. So what is the meaning of open-mindedness? Open-mindedness means it's about very being practical, very being open-minded, open-minded people. They are ready to learn. Open-minded people are ready to change. Open-minded people are ready to learn and ready to change. They are ready to learn and ready to change. That's called open-mindedness. They are ready to learn and ready to change. Okay? Right. I will give you an extra word if you don't mind. Orthodox. So there is one word like conventional. Orthodox means conventional. Means very routine process. Old, outdated. I can also use outdated. They don't want to update myself. They don't want to update themselves. Sorry. They can't update anything. They are very outdated. Okay. They're very outdated, obsolete, maybe antiquated. You can also use the word antiquated. Some people carry antiquated ideologies. Some people carry antiquated ideologies. Antiquated ideologies means an ideology which is not very updated. So the opposite is open-mindedness. Okay. I'm trying to give you some extra synonyms so that this session will give you some good insights into more vocabulary here. I again want to say today is the last session on antonyms. Okay. So be careful. And from tomorrow it's your responsibility to learn vocabulary for banking exams. So can you try the next one, dear? Yes. Can you try the next question, dear? Vishnu, today the voice is clear as usual. No problem with the voice, right? I increased the volume using some techniques. So I think you can hear my voice clearly today, no? No problem with the voice, right? No problem with the voice, right? Okay. So guys, I'll give you a clue. Aggression is a negative word. Pathogenicity negative word. Severity negative word. Benign positive word. Benign positive word. Irregular only sometimes. Occasional only sometimes. Rare only sometimes. Continuous always. That's what I'm asking you to do. Don't worry about the question size. So far we have done around 24-25 questions, but hardly did I explain any sentence because we don't have to learn it. We don't have to waste our time to understand the sentence. So you should be very confident about it. You should be very confident about it. You should be very confident about it. Okay? Right. And meaning is like aggression is very aggressive, very aggressive, aggressive. And pathogenicity is something harmful, pathogens, harmful, And benignity is not harmless. I mean, it is not harmful, harmless. So benignity is very friendly. Benignity is very friendly. We also can say kind, okay? We also can say kind. Benignity. Benignity. We also say generous. Very kind, very generous. Very kind, very generous. Very kind, very generous. Okay? Right. And irregular, occasional, rare. You also use the word seldom. Okay? That is all one group. Sporadic. Sporadic is very rarely. Sporadic is very rarely. This is a sporadic disease. I mean this disease comes once in a blue moon. Very rare. It is a sporadic issue. Okay? Right. Yeah, you are right. Amiable also. And I think virulence, virulence, very dangerous. Okay? Try this one. Question number 25, my dear friends. Yes. Yes, my dear friends. Guys, waiting for your answer. Frankly speaking, if you see this coherent, incoherent. So I think it will take only 2 seconds actually. It is a 2-second question. This question is just a 2-second question. It will hardly take 2 seconds to answer this. But having said that, I would also like to explain the meanings of the other options as well. A few minutes before I was just talking about the synonyms. Concise means very brief, to the point. Concise means something who talks very briefly, who talks to the point. It's like succinct, it's like succinct. Very brief, very precise. I told you, no? You remember? Yeah. Basically, that is the meaning. And my dear friends, economical means very, very careful about money. Economical people are the people who are very careful about money. So they are very frugal. They are very frugal about money. They are very frugal about money. There is an idiom called penny pinching. Okay. There is an idiom called penny pinching. There is an idiom called close fisted. Okay. Close fisted, tight 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 fisted. Okay. And now parsimonious is also same, dear. Parsimonious. Parsimonious are the people. Parsimonious natured people hardly spend money. Penurious. There is a synonym I want to add here called penurious. So penurious is also very, very stingy. They don't want to spend good money at all. Okay. Right. And sucking is also here already. Whereas I think verbose. Verbose means talking more. Okay. Verbose means using more words than required. That is the answer. Verbose natured people talk more. Verbose natured people talk more. Verbose natured people talk more. Okay. Okay, guys. Right. Well, we will go to the next question. Question number 26, dear. Last 15-20 minutes. Speed up the process. Speed up the process. Speed up the process. Yes. This is the easiest question I have ever seen in my entire life. See? Antiquated is equal to ancient is equal to primitive is equal to outdated. Same, no? Is equal to outdated is equal to old. You know? Very old is equal to obsolete. How easy this is. But I'll tell you the secret here. Now that we have practiced good number of questions since last session or since last week, now you will find them very easy. Unless and until you do this practice of this level, you can't find them easy. Okay, right. Archaic. Archaic also very old, very outdated. Archaic is also very old, very outdated. Archaic. Archaic also very old, very outdated. Okay. We say archaic system. Archaic system means very old, very outdated. We say archaic system. Archaic system is very old, very outdated. Okay. We say archaic system. Okay. Right. And I think everybody knows homogeneous. Homo means same. And heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means different. How simple. So I know that it is easy to find this technique, but I'm also trying to give you some good knowledge of vocabulary. Enhanced vocabulary knowledge is important for all of us. Okay. I'm telling you this, guys, in the upcoming exams, in the days to come, in the days to pass, you're going to have examinations with high level vocabulary. Tough vocabulary questions. That is why I am putting a lot of efforts on vocabulary. Yes, try the next one. Only 10 seconds I am giving you, not more than that. Yes. So my dear friends, what is the meaning of docile? You know, docile. So docile people are people who are very, very sensitive. They can be easily influenced by others. They can be easily controlled by others. If someone is docile, he is going to be controlled by anybody easily. It's like they are passive, they are very weak. They are very passive, they are very weak, they are very submissive. Okay, they are very passive, they are very weak, they are very, very submissive. They are very, very submissive. They are very, very submissive. That's called docile. It's called docile. Okay. So docile is very weak, very sensitive, easily controlled, passive, submissive, and all this. So when people are very docile in nature, they are easily controlled by others. They are very vulnerable actually. They are very sensitive. They are very sensitive. They are very indecisive. They don't have any strong decisions of their own. They are very indecisive. Those people don't have any strong decisions of their own. They are very, very indecisive. They are very, very indecisive. Okay. They are very, very indecisive. Okay. Right. They are very, very indecisive. Okay. Right. Okay. Now the opposite is the passive is same, meek is same, submissive is same. The opposite is aggressive. It is opposite of this, correct? The opposite is aggressive. The opposite is aggressive. The opposite is aggressive. Very, very aggressive people. Very, very aggressive people. Very, very aggressive people. Right. I think the other options are not, the right side vocabulary are not very easy to find any shortcut. Maybe, yes, you can try this. So possessive, possessive means it is my own, don't touch it. Very, very protective, very, very exclusive. Okay, very, very exclusive. This is my exclusive bike. This is my exclusive bike, you can't touch it. This is my exclusive bike, you can't touch it. So the meaning comes like this. So that the meaning comes like this. The meaning comes like this. Okay. The meaning comes like this. So the only option which is different is communal. Okay guys. Right. Even territorial comes under this. Territorial comes under synonym. Okay. Please take screenshots. But don't simply, take screenshots and relax. You really have to, focus on this. Running notes is very important. Running notes is very important. Let's get to the next question, my dear friends. Yes. Yes. Any guess, my dear friends? You are taking more time actually. After this level of practice which we have been doing, I expect you to answer in hardly 5 to 10 seconds. Not more than that. Not more than that. Not more than that. Yes, my dear friends. Arbitrary. What is the meaning of arbitrary? Do you know? Arbitrary means sudden. Arbitrary means very random. Very, very sudden. Very, very random. Thoughtless. We say thoughtless. Just like that. We say abrupt decisions. Some people would take abrupt decisions. Some people would take abrupt decisions. They just take the decisions like that without thinking much. That's called arbitrary, arbitrary. They take the decisions just like that, based on random. We say based on whim. We say based on whim. We say based on whim. Which means there is no reasoning. There is no logic. They don't have any reasoning. We say without any reasoning. There is no reasoning, without reasoning. Without reasoning. Just like that. Like we say intuition, intuition. We say intuition, okay? We say intuition. It just goes by an intuition. It just goes by an intuition, okay? Intuition. Okay. Now the opposite is naturally reasoned, reasoned. Because arbitrary is without reasoning and the opposite is very much reasoned. there is some reasoning behind it, you know. There is some reasoning behind it. There is some reasoning behind it. There is some reasoning behind it, okay? And rest of the options are normal, you know, retroactive. Always remember retro is past. You're right, retro is past. Always remember retro is past. You retrospection, you know, retrospection. So retrospection, historical, ancient. I think these three options are related to past. Related to past, okay, past. Again, current is different. I think the fourth option is nowhere related to the other options. The fourth option stands like absolutely odd man out. The fourth option stands like absolutely odd man out. No relation at all with other options. No relation at all. No relation at all. Okay. Right. Judicial, I think judicial is a word related to judiciary. That's all. There is no vocabulary related to that. Judicial, anything which is related to judiciary system can be called as a judicial, like judicial custody, judicial policies, judicial challenges, judicial reforms and all that, judicial promotions. Yes, maybe the last two questions in this session, my dear friends. The last two questions. The last two questions, my dear friend. The last two questions. My dear friends, the last two questions. The last two questions. Yeah, Joe, yeah, you're right, Vishnu. Fourth option, it's like just to fill the space. Fourth option has come from some other planet just to create some confusion and waste our time. Not to confuse us, to waste our time. There is only one agenda. It is to waste our time. Yes. So, if you see, my dear friends, here, what is the meaning of the word convention? I told you, know. So conventional means routine. Conventional means, you know, conventional is routine, old. Conventional means orthodox. Conventional means very orthodox, routine, old, outdated, you know, outdated. That's called conventional. Whereas if you see here, individualistic, very unique, individualistic, very, very, very distinctive, which is very close to idiosyncrasy. You know, idiosyncrasy? Idiosyncrasy is about very independent. Idiosyncrasy is about very independent, very peculiar. You are not following others. You have your own peculiarity. Idiosyncrasy means you have your own independent character. You have your own independent character, peculiar character. That's called independent, peculiar, idiosyncrasy. Okay, right. Now let me hear. Opaque. Opaque means, everybody knows opaque, unclear. Opaque means unclear. Opaque means invisible. Opaque means unclear. Opaque means invisible. And opaque is very unclear. Opaque is invisible. I'll tell you something surprising here. Opaque is unclear. Lucid is clear. Obvious is clear. Explicit is clear. Transparent is clear. These four options are actually carrying similar meaning, but scientifically, opaque opposite transparent, like transparent body. Actually, these four options are synonyms, no, almost very close. Like opaque body, transparent body. Yes, opaque body, transparent body. You can't see clearly. Opaque body. For example, the glass is opaque. I can't see what is inside. The glass is transparent. I can see what is inside. So, easy questions. Easy questions. Next, maybe the last question, my dear friends. This is not just the last question in this session. It's also going to be last question on our series of vocabulary. Almost like 2 days synonyms, 2 days antonyms, and all high level vocabulary, banking level vocabulary. But very important, it's a very important exercise everybody should do. That's a very important exercise everybody should do. Okay. Maybe this question looks challenging. What do you think, guys? This question looks challenging. What do you think? So deterministic means completely determined. Okay. So everybody knows deterministic means something strongly determined. So deterministic means something which is strongly determination, determination. So what is the meaning of determination? Determination means very sure. Determination means very fixed. So determination means very sure, very fixed. Like very clear, which is very close to predictable, and very certain. Okay, very certain. Okay. Regular is a different word, odd man out. Regular is a different word, odd man out. Whereas stochastic means not very sure. Stochastic means not very sure. Not very sure. It can happen, it cannot happen. It can happen, it cannot happen. That is called stochastic. Okay. That's called stochastic. Okay. So whereas, my dear friends, uniform, everybody knows what is uniform, same, symmetric, same, homogeneous, same, whereas anisotropic, same, the meaning comes like same, whereas isotropic is different. Actually, scientific knowledge is actually going to help you. Anisotropic, see, anisotropic, see, anisotropic, see. So guys, I try to almost spend 30 questions. I've discussed 30 questions last session 15 and this session 15. Each question has got 10 words, 2 words in the question and 8 words in the options. So 300 vocabulary actually we have covered in 2 sessions, that is 120 minutes. This session and last session. Okay, I agree that maybe in these 300 words, maybe 100 words you know well, but the remaining 200 words are new. I want you to make a good list of all the running notes and all these words. But today is the last session on vocabulary, because it will be too tedious and monotonous if I keep talking about vocabulary in all sessions. 2 sessions on synonyms and 2 sessions on antonyms. It's enough. Let's take a break to vocabulary battle and also move on to other topics as well. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, let's try to talk about other exercises. And again, next week, maximum, let us focus on mock tests, paper explanations. Thank you so much for being wonderful audience as usual. Share this video to your friends and family members, and also don't forget to like this video. Leave your feedback in the comment section. Your feedback will be our booster, energy booster. Thank you so much.